So this is the door I used to come out of when I used to get out of high school. And I'd meet my friends right over here on this patch of grass. There'd be a lot of teachers' cars in this parking lot here. Of course, right now it's empty, but there used to be me, my friend Rosie, my friend Christian, and sometimes my friend Alana. And we all live pretty much nearby. I mean, some of us lived in different areas. One of my friends lived behind the train tracks, and it took her an extra 30 minutes to get home than me, so we used to part ways when we got up to a certain point. And my friend Christian lived right on the corner, so it was easier for him and I to walk sometimes than for my friend Rosie to come with us. And my friend Alana actually lives the next town over, so she would just come home with me sometimes because she couldn't get a ride home. This street used to always be packed with cars too. Cars waiting to pick up kids from school. We used to walk in a line right next to each other because nobody wanted to look back and talk. So we always used to make sure we were in line so we could just look over. We always used to have to watch out over here because there was always dog shit in the grass. No one wanted to step in it, so anyone who was walking in the grass had to be a lookout and tell anyone if they saw anything. This pole used to always annoy me because I had my messenger bag backpack and it was a pain to get around the pole. This was the calmest street that we used to walk down. There usually isn't this many cars on the street, but sometimes we used to just walk in the street because it was easier than avoiding all these poles. This is when we had to walk single file. It was kind of annoying. So sometimes we'd just take up the whole street and then we'd get honked at. I used to hate when I would run out of tissues because my nose would run a lot when it was cold out and I was walking. And if I didn't have any tissues left in my bag, I'd get pissed because then I'd have to wipe my nose with my gloves and wash them. It's weird to be so quiet. It used to be so loud when it was all four of us walking home. One of my other friends lives down here somewhere. Down this block is like another maze of houses. I couldn't find her house if I tried. The only time I would ever walk there is if she was with us. So over here we wouldn't even bother walking on the sidewalk anymore. Usually it was just the street. The sidewalk was too inconvenient and the street was big enough. It's a one-way street, so it only be one car at a time. Sometimes I used to have to stop and tie my shoe, but I would hate doing it on this road, so I was afraid everyone was staring at me when they came around the bend in their cars. And when it was the three of us, we would have trouble fitting on this street, so we would have to walk single file, or at least only two in a row and then one person behind. So we would end up splitting up conversations that way. So if it was the four of us, it would be two people having a conversation in front and two people in back. I used to see them a lot more back then. I don't really talk to any of them anymore. But I hated windy days like this because I used to wear skirts and I hated when my skirt blew up in the wind. Especially when we were walking with Christian because I had a crush on him back then. I didn't want him seeing anything he shouldn't be seeing. Over here at this driveway, one of the times that I almost got hit by a car was crossing in front of this driveway. And the car didn't look before it started to back out, so it backed out, and it backed out really quick. If I didn't run past it, I would have gotten hit by it. So, that was one of the scariest moments while I was walking home. This light used to take forever. When we were trying to cross the streets, we used to run when the light turned red, because we knew it wouldn't turn red again for a while. Especially on school days, this road was pretty crowded. I used to hate pushing this stupid button because I was a germaphobe. I didn't want to catch anything from it. But now I have gloves on, so I'm okay with doing it. There used to be a really big tree on this corner. I just recently took it down right before the storm happened. I used to like that tree. I took a million pictures of it. It was really cool looking. Had a lot of knots and scattered branches. I did take a lot of pictures of trees and things. I used to really hate passing people on the streets. It would give me anxiety attacks. It was really annoying. I used to sometimes even cross the street just to be away from the person who was crossing paths with me. I was always paranoid because I had been mugged once, so I didn't want it to happen again, so I was always extra careful around other people passing me while I was walking. I used to hang out on that corner over there with a bunch of people who were like doing drugs, smoking pot. It still smells like weed over here. It usually does. Even when there's no one here, the smell still lingers. This is where we used to part ways with Christian. He used to keep walking down that way. We used to wait here for the light, which also takes forever. Oh, I got lucky this time. I used to hate crossing this street too. There were always cars turning from every way. This used to be a smaller fence. We used to cut across the parking lot because we could. This fence used to be probably half as high, maybe even less. When I used to turn down here, it used to start to get quiet again because I'd be off the main road. This is when me and Rosie would decide if she was going to come inside with me or if she was going to keep walking, or maybe if I'd go home with her. Then we used to have to call our parents and make sure it was okay, so we made sure to give ourselves enough time to do that. Me and Rosie used to have Italian together, so sometimes we would decide around now if she was going to come inside and do our Italian homework together before she continued on her way home. But usually she said she had to get home for her brother and sister who were in elementary school. She used to watch them after school. Sometimes I used to go home with her, but that was usually only on a weekend. And then we'd stop here, talk for a few more minutes, and then I'd give her a hug and she'd be on her way. I'd tell her to call me or text me when she got home, and then I would go inside. And well, that's about it. Guess I'm home.